Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Investing Bros, coming at you every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, giving you guys all the information that you need to know to make sound choices in investments. Today, as we said in the thumbnail, Micah Burry, kind of bullish, or kind of bearish, I should say, with a whole lot of puts on his calls right there. So is this a sign that the market's going down? We're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about China. We're going to look at, how if things going economically. Had some retail sales come out today, but I'm here covering for Tim because Tim's got a very important meeting at work today. So it's me here. I'm here as the host today, but I'm not doing it by myself. I do have my partner in crime that I love catching up with, and it's awesome to be with them on here. It is T-Shroom. T-Shroom, how you doing, my man?
Piper, I'm doing better than I deserve. And man, it's actually really, really good to have you on. It's going to be a Piper and T-Shroom takeover. Going to have a lot
That's
of fun
right.
this morning.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You have
Oh,
a
I don't
quote
have a
today?
quote. I don't have a quote of the day, but if you go over to my screen,
No
you'll see
quote.
I've got, I'm
This
going
is
to
2 days
read.
running. T-Shroom. T-Shroom, you're on a downhill slide on quote production, man. 2 days in a row now.
Okay, look, I technically do have a quote. We can go to the quote. So go ahead. All right. So the quote is, "Love doesn't make the world go round. Love is what makes the ride worthwhile." There you go. So there's a quote that's from Franklin P. Jones.
I love it.
But
I love it.
yesterday my volume was really low, so I wanted to re-announce that I have been engaged. I proposed to this beautiful young lady right here, Amanda, and I'll scroll through some of the pictures. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. This was 2 days ago now on Saturday, but it was I think my mic was off or something yesterday on the show. So
Yeah, it was a
yeah,
little low yesterday. A little low.
yeah. So these are just
Well,
some of the pictures.
congratulations. I didn't get to tell you
There's our phone.
personally. I didn't get to tell you personally, but congratulations to you and Amanda. That's a very awesome story, and I'm glad that I'm glad you found that special someone because that's what makes everything worthwhile, as the quote said. So,
Absolutely.
um, also, we've got a lot of headlines that we're going to go through today, guys. We're going to talk a lot today about some headline things going on. Even in the chat, you guys were already asking about what's the story with the Michael Burry. Of course, that wasn't Michael Burry on there. That was the actor that played him on The Big Short. He's more recognizable than actual Michael Burry is. So, but
Sure.
and we're going to talk about how we're feeling, bearish or bullish on all of this data coming out. We're going to look at China and all of the little aspects of China. I think you got some info on some treasury yield. And then
That's right.
we're going to set everything up today for tomorrow's guest. And who is the guest tomorrow, T-Shroom?
It's going to be Caleb Franzen, guys. If you've ever heard of him, he's a super, super big macroeconomic analyst. And he's got a little newsletter that he wants to share some of the overlap information with you guys on. So we're really excited to have him on. Caleb's been one of the
Absolutely.
longest running guests for the Investing Bros. So we always love to have him on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, when it comes to macroeconomic stuff, the guy is on fire. He's got a lot of wisdom. So, yeah, we're going to set this up today. And when he comes on tomorrow, get some more questions. And then also, we're going to do a little TA here in a bit. And I'm going to take a look at HBAR as OC Pet Doctor was. They're talking about HBAR, the big winner for today in the static world of a $29,000 stablecoin called Bitcoin. So, but let's get into the chat here. Let's go ahead and talk about the
Do it.
names. Get the shout out on the names. The first person this morning was a mellow fellow coming in with a GM, and then right after him was Bob B.O.B. saying good morning all. Mike Play was in there. Who else we got? We got Cryptex with the blue wrench. We got a mellow fellow again. We have Ben Redden saying good morning, bros, with a cup of coffee. Yes, I've got my cup of coffee. Do you have your cup of coffee, T-Shroom?
Oh, of course. I've got my coffee
There you go. There
right
you go. That's
here.
good. Right cheer. And then we also got Peter Prevost in here saying good morning. We got Al Bundles, Crypto Trapper, Mr. J in here, Justin Eubanks, Eric Wallen, Curtis Rorick. It's a me, a Crypto Mario. You can't say it without saying it that way. I'm just saying. Nancy Croy's in here saying good morning, bros.
Yahoo!
Ninja Glock's in here. Ada Ace in the house right now, with dropping all that ADA knowledge. constantly over in the Discord, guys. GS with her new blue wrench looking glorious and glamorous as always. Remington Peralton here. We had T-Shroom. This guy named T-Shroom came in and said yo-yo. I don't know what that's about. Brian D chopped in. Dylan Martinez. We have Gia. Nope, I said that name. Dylan Martinez said to you. Wayne Kerr, he said, how's Texas, Piper? Texas is great. It's we do have a little bit of storms coming in. So if we lose you guys today, it's because Texas weather has kicked in. It is monsoon season out here in the desert. So we have a major storm getting ready to roll through here. Merrick Frantic, and let's get a couple of more here. Berkoshi No Dinero, love that name. Josh Denham and Remington Peralt use his super chat for his membership as a silver member, saying, good morning, Piper. Good morning, T-Shroom. Much, much love. So, hey, if I didn't say your name, it doesn't mean that I don't love you. It doesn't mean that T-Shroom doesn't love you. It doesn't mean that Tim, who's always here in spirit, doesn't love you. It just means we have to get going into the show. It is 7:06. Right. We're going to go ahead and jump over into some macroeconomic news. So, Piper, can you jump over to macroeconomic news? Yes, Tim, I got you. And we are in here. So, taking a look here, guys, on retail sales month over month. That is the data that came in today. It was consensus was on that was going to be at 0.4%. The forecast was at 0.3%. Actually came in at 0.7%. Guys, when I was talking about this with T-Shroom, he goes, that's kind of bullish. And I said, no, actually it's a little bearish. And there's a couple of reasons why. So let's look at this data here. Let's take it all in. Guys, 0.7% right here. I want to jump to Brocam because we're going to talk in a little bit about this, but I want to talk about what this means. This means that people are buying more than even they expected them to be buying on the consensus and forecast. Remember, forecast was 0.4, consensus was 0.3, it came in at 0.7. If people are buying retail, that means that the rates of the rate hikes is not affecting their purchasing desires, okay? And if they're T-Shirt, quick question for you here. What's going on with credit card debt in America right now?
It's not looking great. I think it just went over $1 trillion again. I think
$1 trillion.
it had come below it, and then now it's back up above $1 trillion.
Correct. And so that means that a lot of this 0.7% retail, if I had to make a guesstimation here, I would say that a good majority of this retail sales purchasing boost is probably on credit cards. So not a good thing, not a good thing at all. Let's jump back over. I just wanted to touch on that, guys. Yes, it is a bullish number. That means money is still flowing into the economy, but it is probably debt that is flowing into the economy. So I actually saw a thing recently that every 1 in 10 credit debtor right now between the age of 18 to 39 is over 90 days behind on their bill. And that's insane. So,
yeah.
That is the wrong one. Yep, there we go. Sorry about that. I fat fingered the wrong button. So, I'm out of practice, man. I'm out of practice. Looking here at CPI data, guys, up 1/100% here, sitting at 2.43. This is coming back up a little bit. I believe a couple of days ago, this was at 2.12. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe I saw that when Tim was talking about it. So, yeah, guys, looking at the liquidations here for the past 24 hours, let's give a little refresh here. Click this back on the 24. Little refresh, get a little fresh. Yeah, so Bitcoin here sitting at only 9.7. Others at 4.51, ETH at $3.18 million. Guys, this is very low numbers. It's just not moving. Price is sideways, so people aren't really getting wrecked. I bet you there's a lot of people sitting right now paying fees every 8 hours on a price that's not moving. So
yeah,
that's what we're looking at there, guys. Let's jump back over to the Brocam, and I will tell you guys while I get this other screen set up here what we're going to be looking at. We're going to take a look at Bitcoins on some higher time frame stuff. We're going to take a look at ETH. We're going to take a look at HBAR, of course, we have to, and then we'll see where we're at with time and go from there. But let's jump into there. T-Shirt, you got anything you want me to look at today, since you don't get me here doing TA for you very often?
Well, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a comparison on the macro of Microsoft now versus Microsoft in 2009 on the monthly charts, and just kind of show a little bit of perspective of what we might expect going into the end of this year, next year. But I would say Tesla for you to do some TA on. I'd love to
All
see
right,
some of
you
that.
got it. You got it. I'll do some Tesla, man. All right, guys, let's jump in here. Taking a look here at Bitcoin, just to give you guys the update on here where we are right now with Bitcoin on the weekly chart, looking at the Gaussian channel. We're still staying above the line here, guys. We haven't really moved. That price sideways price. The good thing about that is price isn't really moving down. So we got Crypto Billion here. He said, "Good morning, OGs." Good morning to you, man. So yeah, we're staying above the Gaussian channel. Still got the buy signal going on here on the hash ribbon. And then I got the RSI prime on Heikinashi here. You can see this candle is not, it's so Heikinashi candles, guys. The length of the candle will be the average of the price. It doesn't have the wicks per se on it. It doesn't actually have the true closing and the true opening. It's got an averaging of them. When you see it start to get flat like this on the bottom, it does typically lend that there could be a reversal coming. Kind of like right here, you saw how the small candle hit and then we pulled down. Just like right here, it got flat before we moved up. This could be starting to flat. But don't think that this can't go on for the next couple of weeks looking at the Heikinashi there at RSI Prime. Let's go ahead and jump into the lower time frame charts. And I'm looking at a 4-hour chart here on Bitcoin. I've got the oscillators pulled up right now. We'll go into those in just a second, but I'm going to go ahead and just talk about what we had going on here on Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart, guys. You can see here, staying below this this orange and blue line here that we have coming down. That is the volume flex reactor. That is the one that Tim likes to talk about all the time, being his favorite indicator. But this red one here is actually the dynamic reactor, and I've got them both turned on. So right now you can see that price kind of grinding down on the candle closes below the volume flex reactor, but the wicks, a lot of rejections with the exception of this breakout here, which by the way, came up to 29,650. So it was within, I think, like $47 of my $29,700 call for the top.
Wow.
So yeah, it was pretty close there. It was pretty close there. T-shirt. I'm going to pull you in over here. Let me see here. There we go. There, and click that, and then let's put T-shirt there. There we go. I have a little T-shirt over here on my chart now. So if you want to talk, you can. We can talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we are staying underneath that dynamic reactor. We did almost come up. Matter of fact, what was the high on there? The high came up to 29,650. So I was $50 off on my 29.7 call, which is not bad. But right now we are staying right here in just a sideways motion, guys. Matter of fact, if we go in and we just put on a regression trend tool, this is probably going to play a little bit of craziness with it, but I'm going to suspect, yeah, it's just staying right here in this range, guys. What I would be doing is looking at 29,272, 275 to enter into longs on Wix, and then looking at 29,460 for shorts, and just trade this range because it's hitting here. It's going back and forth. Close it out when it hits the top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty good right there. And this would actually be even tighter if we didn't have this big breakout there, but I just wanted to show that. Let's take a look at the oscillators. Oscillator right now getting super tight on the 50% hit line here, far away from the bullish or bearish zones on this. If you want to turn those bullish and bearish zones on, guys, I just updated to version 3.2, so I turned them off here on the chart prime indicator. But let's go in here. I'm going to change my bullish zone to negative 95. I'm going to make this one 95, and I'll leave them like that. Normally they're green and red, but I just want to have them on. I turned them off on the default. So here we go, guys, getting really tight in here. We did have a little tightening that happened right here on the oscillator. Then we had this little breakup. That was this breakout that we had of this just boring sideways grind that was going on there. And then it now is coming back and starting to flip back in here. I'm not looking for Bitcoin to do much until some things change, because yes, as Eric Wallen just said, that range is tight. It's super tight, man. Yeah, hey guys, if you have not hit that like button yet, as Brakoshi Nerdinero said, you guys need to smash that like button if you guys like this content. And if you're new here, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're glad to have you on board. So taking a look here, guys, down here, this indicator down here is called the MVP oscillator. And this MVP oscillator normally has down here at the bottom these green lines that build up. And the brighter green that they get, the more it's saying that bottoming is in. On the 4 hour, not too great. But if I go to the daily and I look at the daily on here, you can see that back here when we had these bright green is when we started to come up out of this range. We're almost back to that range, and I'm going to be watching for the bright greens to fire off here, and before I start to get bullish again. Because overall, guys, I'm pretty bearish. I won't lie. The charts are not looking good. Everything's just kind of sideways, and with all the macroeconomic news coming in, it's got me a little hesitant to want to jump into any trades right now. So I'm just sitting, watching, and waiting because that's what you do. Patience, right? Let's check out ETH. Let's go jump over to ETH, see how ETH is looking here. ETH, yeah, ETH is sitting here, guys, inside of its trading wedge right now. It's in this falling wedge. Has been going all the way back to, let's see here, July 6th. So it's been in this range here, back and forth. And right now, it looks like it's trying to break out. 70% of the time it will break to the upside out of this pattern. But what we're seeing right here is that we're in this buffer zone of the chart patterns now. And it's just kind of grinding right there on this true line, but rejecting off of the buffer. And the reason that we have these buffers is because it doesn't give you false breakouts. Typically, this would have triggered a breakout off of this line, but because it's still in the buffer zone, it is not giving the indication of a true breakout, which means this could easily pull back in. Looking at the low side here, wick of 1793 right now. So keep watching that. Currently, guys, in my old platinum pocket here, as I've showed you guys for months now. Has it? It's been like 5 months that I've been talking about this, hasn't it? The platinum pocket. I mean, all the way back into here, when we were getting breakouts. Let's put this on a daily, and let's just take a look here how long we've been in this platinum pocket at play. Going back to April. So
Hey,
what is it? Yeah.
Finish this thought, and then for the folks who are new, because we actually have a decent amount of people watching. For the folks who are new, show us how you get the platinum pocket.
Oh yeah, I can do that. So
But
yeah,
finish your
we've been in
thought.
here since about April. So let's go ahead and go back to, let's keep it on the daily, and I'm going to bring this in here. Let me turn off a whole bunch of other stuff because I got lines galore on here when I'm out this far. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off this platinum pocket, and I'll show you guys how I get this here. So what I did is I looked at this high here. Let me go ahead and circle these for you so you can see it when I turn everything off, and I will turn off all these other indicators. Make it nice. I got alerts galore on here. Don't worry about those guys. Going down to the low right here, okay? So let's go ahead and let's hide this. Come here, you. Hide that so I don't take it off. And I'm just going to draw a new one here. So you go up here and you're going to grab your Fibonacci retracement, guys. You're going to take it to that first high, that high retracement up that we had. Bring it down to the lowest point here and just drop it down. If you go into your settings, this, guys, you can screenshot your screen right now and you can get where I have all my things. But it is the 0.786 to the 0.887 is the platinum pocket that I use. If it breaks the golden pocket, which is the one that everyone's heard about, then it typically goes to the platinum pocket. And if you guys screenshotted that, you've got my settings. Turn off your background, extend your stuff to the right. Bam, you now have Piper's fib levels. So there you go. Appreciate that. I always forget to show people how to do fibs, and a lot of people, it's second nature for me, but a lot of people appreciate getting that knowledge. So good call on your part there, T Shroom. Hope you guys enjoyed that little tip and trick there for the platinum pocket. But let's jump back into the 4 hour here, looking at Ethereum. Like I was saying, guys, back in the platinum pocket inside of this wedge here and not getting a lot of action. Let's take a look at the oscillators. Oscillators still pushing down on the ribbon here. We did get the peak. And guys, I will tell you, these uptrends and downtrends and peak seekers, when you have these, yeah, you're going to get little movements here, but it's not going to be anything phenomenal. And when you're in sideways action, it becomes almost micro movements off of some of these calls here. So you just got to keep an eye on that stuff. Right now, it does look like we are getting near hitting some higher bright green candles down here on the MVP. But when you look back here at some of the stuff that fired off for us, like I really, and like I said the other day, I really like the zero line on here. I'm going to put one on here because I think it came off when I was not doing anything on it. So let's add a horizontal line. Double click in here, go to the coordinates 0, point 0, and okay. Now I've got one there, and now I can see these levels that we normally get our rejections at on here is going to be in around that 0 line. So I'm going to be watching for the green candles on the MVP, the reversal candles, bottoming candles, I should say, being up here near this 0 line on the MVP oscillator. So yep, that is what I'm looking at on Ethereum right there. Still, mostly downside and sideways. If we break out of here, I'd be looking for it to come up at least to the 1875 range, grabbing some liquidity from these previous levels right here. But it does look like we could easily have some more downside, especially on the RSI primed oscillator. So if you guys want that oscillator, absolutely free. You just go in and type RSI space primed. It is from Chart Prime, and it doesn't cost you a penny, and it works great. I put it on Heikinashi candles. Love using it to see where we are for tops and for bottoms. So let's go take a look at HBAR.
Let's do it.
GS said, hey, all, getting some great alpha here. Show appreciation. Smash that like. I appreciate that, Gia. And if you guys are interested in getting Chart Prime's indicators, the paid Pro Suite, you can actually go and take a look down below in the description, and you will find a link there. You will get 45% off. It is the best discount in the market. You can't find it anywhere else. 45% off your first subscription of the quarterly or monthly. And guys, 5 classes a week. So you can't miss out on that. It is wonderful to get people over there learning, because the more you know, the more you make. That's how it goes. I'm going to jump into
That's right.
HBAR here, and let's get HBAR up on the chart here. Up, guys, today, 11.45%. When everything else is static, HBAR is just absolutely rocking. And you can see this buildup that we had here on the MVP. It kept getting higher and higher and higher. Came up, hit that 0 line, and that was the bottoming right there. We did come back for one more retest before this. So shout out to the developers over there with the MVP. It is a wonderful tool. We are looking very, very overbought here on the RSI primed. Do have overbought indicators triggering here on the oscillator prime, or oscillator pro, I should say. And let's go ahead and jump this in. I want to see what the money flow is looking like. Go here. Let's turn this to the trend fusion oscillator, and we'll get a new look here. Money flow peeing up. Everything's still rising though, guys. We did have a reversal indicator here, giving us this indication right before we came down. Met great support here on the prime ranges. This is upper resistance band, became a support band, broke through it, retested it beautifully before it came back up. Guys, right now, inside of the current trade band of the prime ranges, there's your upper gold, there's your lower gold, there's your delta median. And right now, we are staying right here in this range. If we break above this, be watching for 7.7 cents, which would be the upper resistance line. A lot of times that is where we do find rejection at if it breaks outside of the trade pocket like here. We had a lot of play on that level. Look for it to come in and do something like that here again at that 7.7 cents. So let's see what else we got going on HBAR. It's looking. I would not be jumping into it, but I also wouldn't not want some exposure to it. It is looking like we could have some retracement pullback, but HBAR is just staying solid strong right now, guys. Solid, strong. I used to have a whole bunch of HBAR, but when it started grinding sideways, I reallocated, and I made a bad call there, I think, in my opinion. Don't treat HBAR as something special. A lot of coins are popping one at a time. XLM, XRP, then XDC, HBAR. My guess is there will be a lot of other coins popping soon. Absolutely, DCA and Prey.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. That's but if you've got exposure in it already, congratulations to you. So
Yeah.
I definitely did not.
Don't try to chase it higher, guys, because
No.
also another one on that list is Chainlink, right? So
Yep.
really what you want to do is you want to buy things while they're low. So you should be buying, cryptos that haven't popped yet. Some names that come to mind, AVAX, right? Cardano. There's plenty of cryptos that are out there that are going to have these catalytic moments like HBAR has had, like XRP has had. Maybe not as big as XRP's catalytic moment, but they're going to have some big moves to the upside. Doesn't mean you sell all of it. Maybe you take some profit. But the worst thing you can do is look at an HBAR this week and say, "Oh, I'm going to chase it higher. I'm going to buy it here." You're just going to, more than likely, if you have that mentality, you're just going to sell it for a loss when it comes back down from that hyper volatile event.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great call. Let's go ahead and take a look at CSPR. Crypto Trades asked about CSPR. So I'm going to look at CSPR, and then I'm going to take a look at Tesla for you, which should be right about the market opening. We'll see how she's doing there. All right. Let's jump back in on my screen. Here we go. CSPR for Crypto Trades. He said he thinks this one's going to be next. Crypto Trades, drop in the chat why you think this one's going to be next. And let's talk about that for a second. And then I need to find it here. Casper on
It's definitely been
spot.
getting a lot of love on social media. I've been seeing a
Yeah, it
lot.
has. Yeah, it has. Casper does get a lot of love. They have a great community. So I want to make sure I get some good history here. Let's go with OKX, I guess. Let's see how this one's looking. Yeah, good history. There we go. All right. So Casper sitting down. I don't know. I mean, Casper's looks like money flow is about to drop on the 4 hour. Let's put this on a little bit higher time frame so we can get a little more in depth here. It does look like the money flow is about to curve up on the daily, but I think that this could rebound. You see down here on the RSI Prime, guys, how we're below the signal line here. We would have to break above the signal line in order for me to get bullish on this. And when I pull this down and you see times that we've been below, it has to break above before I start to get that bullish feeling on Casper. I think Casper still has a little bit more to go on the low side, especially if I look at the 4 hour here and we take a look here. We've got the trend sitting down here. I would be looking at this 0.03742 trend assist line to look for an entry on this. I don't know that I would pop on this right now just because it's not looking overly bullish, especially on the 4 hours. So that is what I'm seeing there. Yes, spot ETF is real. We're going to talk about that in the headlines in just a second. So Eric Brubaker said CAS, KAS, which is Costa token. They just had an amazing run also. They did, you're right. Did I miss anything in here? I don't think so. I think we're good. Always take profit. Always. Yes, 100%. Buy things like DOT, VET, and ADA. I think VET's a dead project, but it can still pop off pretty good. DCA and Prey. They had their run last cycle. I would not want to do a replay on something that doesn't have a whole lot of developers behind it like it used to. I think it's done its run. I think there's other projects. I mean, it could pop off. It does have a decent community still. I still hear Crux of Crypto talk about it all the time, but I think there's better things than that. But I agree on your other two listing, Dot and Ada. Absolutely bullish on those. So, all right, let's go take a look at see where Tesla's at, and then see what it opens at on the 2-minute. T-shirt. Do you have anything that you want me to look at on the market open, or are you looking at stuff on the market open? Let's jump in here, bro.
On the market open,
Yeah.
it hasn't yet, so not really. I mean, I can look at the just the indexes and kind of look at them, but I wanted to check out Microsoft, probably within the narratives of the Michael Burry call. So we'll wait till we get to the stories to look at that. But I can do a little market open after we have our Tesla TA. How about that?
Yeah, I'm just we got about 1 minute for the market open here, so I'll go ahead and jump into the Tesla TA
Yeah,
and start
we can
taking a
go.
look at it.
Yeah,
And
we
then
can go into it. Yeah, take your
and
time.
then I will get the opening that's coming in
Oh,
here real
wait,
fast. So
Piper, make sure you
yeah,
have your
yeah,
screen
yeah,
on. Have you already opened up Tesla on your
yeah,
chart?
yeah.
Uh, I don't know why this was. It made me think I was on drugs this morning. But if I opened Tesla's chart, and it may have been only activated because I had an alert, but
Okay.
literally, I'm not lying, guys. Elon Musk slid across the screen. It was like an animated. This is on TradingView.com, an animation of him with the I guess blunt that he had on Joe Rogan. And he
That's
like came
awesome.
in. I didn't get the screenshot fast enough because I couldn't believe my eyes. I was just staring at it, and I was like, "What?"
What
So
just happened here?
yeah.
Did
So
Elon
I don't know.
did Elon reach out and hand you that? Did he pass it to you?
I wish. No.
Hey, T-shirt, when you retire and you no longer have UAs, it's wonderful, just so you know. Let's jump over here into the chart. Looking at Tesla, guys. Tesla been on the downslide over here since 19 July. It's been on a downtrend there. Let's go ahead and throw a regression here and just see what this looks like. Yeah, there's our downward channel, guys, that we've been trading on, mostly right here along the zero line on this. It's not looking very bullish, but this is a bullish pattern. I just saw this with Doge. I went to the Doge chart and a dancing Doge appeared on TradingView, is what DCA and Prey just said. Let's go over and take a look. Let's see if it does that.
Dude.
Hey, DCA and Prey, is it on any particular Doge exchange? Like, what exchange was it on? Let me know that in the chat so I can pull that one up. Hallucination of engagement is what Bedridden said. Yeah, see, you actually have been on drugs all week long, T-Shroom, and what you
Yeah.
thought was an engagement, yes, was actually all played out in your head, like an
Oh, man.
Elon Musk sliding across your screen. I'm just saying.
Oh, man.
That's heartbreaking, isn't it? Okay, I'll be nice to you. I got nothing but love for you, T-Shroom.
I appreciate it.
All right, where are we at here? We opened. This is Tuesday. Yeah, this is our opening candle. And it looks like Tesla's getting some upside here above the zero line. Money flow is way down. Guys, if there was ever a time, let's take a look at the daily here and talk about Tesla's buying time. Look, money flow is absolutely buried. Let's go back and take a look historically at when money flow has been buried. Well, that would be this whole period here. Oh, let's draw. Drawing tool. Thank you. This whole period here was a bottoming time for that. This whole time period right here was a bottoming time on the money flow. We had another one in this range here on the money flow. We had another one here on the money flow. Now, keep in mind, this was when we were in doing downtrend, but you still could have made a pretty penny off that little bounce up here. Let's see how much that was. That was an 18% move, guys. So right now we do have money just buried. You got it? Did you just get some?
No, I got the animation here. Let me.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Oh, is it gonna keep going? Keep going. I'll
Okay.
fix it up.
Doge and USDT. I want to pull up this here. I gotta see the Doge work.
So I got a screenshot, but I accidentally dragged the image back onto TradingView, and so it's like not letting me bring it off as a different image.
So it's not working on Doge on the app. I'm using the app. Maybe it's only on the website. That is possible. So
yeah. Here, let me just take another screenshot, I guess. It's pretty funny.
We're trying to get dancing things coming across the screen here. All right, back into the stocks, guys.
Yeah, keep going.
Downside grinding here on the market open, or to the upside, I mean, but overall pattern to the downside here. It does look like right now we did open a little lower and then opened and then pushed to the upside. Looking down here at the MVP on the daily, guys, looking at the bright greens on these. Also, again, like I said, usually calls bottoms, and we are way under on the 30% line on RSI primed Heikenashis. Guys, this is a prime area, in my opinion, to get into Tesla. Maybe not ape in completely, but definitely getting in there and starting to get some exposure. Looking at Tesla here again on the 4-hour, we do have a support line coming in at 229.75 cents. But right now fighting with the daily close of 239.76. And that's what I've got there on that T-shirt. Let's kick it over to Brocam. Talk about what you want to talk about in the opening stuff here. We'll look at your charts, and then let's get into these headlines because we got a lot of information to put out.
Heck yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and get into it then. Let me first start off with showing you guys, because it has been so funny. So this is what it looks like right here. This little animation of Elon Musk just slides across the bottom of the screen, and apparently it's doing that on the Doge charts as well for TradingView. I had to log into like a different account to be able to access this, because my account, it already did it this morning, but I didn't get the screenshot. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here at the market open. You're seeing the market pretty much reacting to those retail sales selling off a little bit, but very, very modest. Not really decisive. You're not seeing anything above zero point 0.5 in either direction this morning. As I say that, the Dow Jones may try to compete with that. Yeah, there we go. So the Dow Jones is getting up down. It's getting down zero point 0.5 here in the early morning trading hours. But taking a look here at oil and natural gas, both selling off. Oil still persisting up above $80 per barrel. Uh, yeah, we've looked at crypto pretty thoroughly, mostly red across the screen. Um, yeah, and then your mega cap tech stocks coming in pretty red as well, but modestly down. Amazon staying green. Nvidia putting up another 2.2%, guys. If you didn't get into Nvidia when you had a chance, man, I didn't, and I regret it. But here's the big one, though, guys. The T-bond, the 10-year is up at 4.2. So this is just continuing to just sap liquidity out of the market. Folks are just buying, money's going into the treasuries and not leaving much else for crypto, for equities, and that's why those have been kind of down. Those assets have been down because money's just pouring into pick up the supply here in the treasuries because they're just yielding decent yields. Especially in the younger dated bonds, it makes so little sense not to buy it. A lot of people are concluding, hey, I can get 5.5 only locking my money up for 6 months. If you're a big institutional trader for your clients, that sounds like a good deal. So a lot of people are taking that. The Dixie is back, staying up above 100 at 102.9, almost up at 103. I wouldn't be surprised if it has ticked out to that. Let's take a look. If it's gotten that high to 103, it has. So it's wicked that high, but I'm on the weekly charts. Taking a look at the mid-cap tech stocks, seeing some good rotation into coin, but the majority of these names, at least on my watch list, are getting sold. Palantir getting a little relief from the sell-off there. So your crypto miners generally are pretty mixed here, not really moving in one direction or another. But if I had to say anything, I'd say there's a little bit of a bullish bias as BitF and HUT are up more than 1.5% there. So things are looking good there. Overall, I'd say this is, it's not an exaggerated, it's not a dramatic move relative to kind of the bearish news we got today. Again, it may be difficult, and you can go back to Broken, it may be difficult to interpret, guys, because right now we're still in a season where some good news is bad news to the Fed, right? Because of the way that the Fed works. If
Yep.
the Fed, Jerome is basically looking at these retail numbers and saying, "Oh, okay, everybody's fine. We can keep hiking rates, federal fund rates, so that we can continue to get inflation down from 3 and change where it is now down to 2 where we want it." Now that doesn't mean he's gonna hike rates, but this is one green light that he's waiting for to say, okay, I can now if I want to. I don't know if he's going to this next time. Nobody does in September, but we shall see.
Yep, absolutely. Crypto Seth in the chat said he said, "Hey, how's everybody doing there?" Because he hasn't been here in a hot minute. So shout out to Crypto Seth. But he also asked, "Will Bitcoin ever go below 20K again?" I tend to not think so. However, pause for effect. I will say that it would make it a double bottom, and that is typically what we see with Bitcoin in bear cycles. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Never say never. That's what I will say. And
I think
especially with the news that we have coming out, things could get very hairy for risk markets. So with no more delay, T-Shroom, what do you have for some headlines today about some economic stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wanted to answer Crypto Seth's question as well first, which is no, I don't think we're going to see 20,000 Bitcoin again unless there's an event like Binance getting some serious penalty somewhere and having to see a lot of money go. And I'm talking about Binance proper. So that's kind of my opinion on it. If an ETF, if the BlackRock ETF gets rejected, I think you might be able to see Bitcoin back below 20,000. But how likely is that? I don't know. So let's take a look here at the news, see if it can shed any light on that. very question. Michael Burry, famous for the Big Short, bought bearish options against the S&P and the Nasdaq 100. Going back out to Brocam, we can kind of discuss this. So this is something, that a lot of the market loves to, the media, I should say, the media loves to project this headline whenever Michael Burry comes out, and he does every time that there's any kind of publishing from his company. I think it's Scion really Scion. I can't remember exactly the name of his. Yeah, Scion Asset Management. Wow, I can't believe I remembered that. But Scion Asset Management is a company that has to publish quarterly what they're
Yep.
what they're purchasing and what they're selling. And so this last quarter, it was revealed that they bought a bunch of put options, meaning betting against the
Shorts.
yeah, shorts.
They're shorting the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. Which, by the
Hmm.
way, I want to point out to people, the Nasdaq 100 primarily your big tech industries,
Hmm.
Google, Apple, Tesla's, Microsoft. So
Hmm.
that's why that's relevant, because what have been the
Yep.
biggest runners this year so far? The tech
Those names.
sector, the
Yeah.
Nasdaq 100. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's got shorts on that.
So overall, so let's give our take on this headline, just for folks who haven't seen, the cycle of the Michael Burry bearish headline coming out. I'll give my take, and then you can give yours, and then I want to look at a Microsoft chart comparison from now to 2009. So let me give my take really quick. Michael Burry, he gets trotted out by the media because the media want what? They want clicks and they want control. So
Correct.
right now, this is coming out, and there's maybe a little bit of an argument for manipulating price of different assets. I don't think that's the case here. I think that media websites, they really just want clicks here, and
Correct.
we're talking about it. We ran it as a thumbnail because the guy who called it once, the doomsday call, and he got it right. People want to hear that again. They want to hear the successful prophet, right? What is his word that he's bringing down from the mountain? Well, the reality is, guys, is that Michael Burry has called another major correction in the markets probably another 50 times, right? So he's been right one time, but he's also been quote unquote wrong or way too early
Well,
49
what
times.
was
So Piper, give your take on it as well.
what was the comment that Tim said someone made on his Twitter about talking about that Michael Burry has called 50 of the past five major events or something like that.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
constantly has short calls, yes. But
yeah.
to put it in perspective, what's in the article that we didn't go over, it's $1.6 billion that he's got on the line in short calls, guys. $1.6 billion.
Of,
That
of
is a
his
lot
clients'
of
money.
he of his clients' money, correct? But that is a lot of money to put where your put your money where your mouth is. That's what he's done on this. So we'll have to
Hmm.
see. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But
Yeah.
you got some more headlines there to read on that?
Oh, I've got
That's my
plenty of
take.
headlines, but let's go over to my screen for some chart analysis really quick of Microsoft. So Microsoft is the top weighted component of not just the S&P and the Nasdaq, but also the Dow Jones. So let's take a look at that and see if it can shed some light on what we might expect for the rest of the year and the rest of this bull cycle that we're clearly in for equities. So taking a look here, you can see on the top I have the 2009 charts, right? 2007 is where prices topped out before the mortgage-backed securities revelations revealed that they were incorrectly priced, and that is the undergirder. It is the foundation. Mortgage-backed securities, mortgages, real estate prices are the kind of the backbone, one of the backbones of the American economy, the world economy. What we found out in 2009. So the rug got pulled out from under the U.S. economy, and it repriced. I believe it's like famously third. Yeah, so it's 59% from peak to trough. 59% there. So, you can call it different ways, but ultimately it had a major correction, guys. This is Microsoft, okay? This isn't Dogecoin. This isn't, one of those, Microsoft in 2009, okay? So taking a look here today, you can see that the reprice has been emotionally similar, 38%, okay? So it's not 59%, but it's similar. And it was felt in a similar amount of time. Okay. What is this? This is the pandemic, really. This is the supply chain really getting screwed up. But then the recovery. Okay. So what am I trying to show here? What am I trying to highlight? Well, I'm trying to highlight what happens after the recovery, right? Where do we bounce back? And so what I'm compelled to believe right now is that we're looking at a period of time that's very similar to this period right here. We've just gotten a buy rating from Chart Prime. Again, this is on the monthly chart candles, right? We had the sell back here towards the top, right? The '07 equivalent. Something changed, right? And so the indicators are saying, oh wow, this is time to sell, and they were right on the monthly charts, right? What happens? Price moves down below the midline of the Bollinger Bands, right, and comes down and tests the lower Bollinger Band. That has happened already for Microsoft in our time in the classical era, right, so to speak. In 2008, it was a little different. It tested that lower end of the Bollinger Band, sliced right on through in like a very short amount of time. Looks like a 1 month span. It sliced through that midline of the Bollinger Band. It took a little longer here recently, more recently during the pandemic. But it not only tested that lower line, it came to lower than that. So that's the difference. That's what we did not experience here. And that more than likely has to do with how much more aggressive the Fed was with cutting rates and spending, really more spending, adding securities to their balance sheet to try to boost the economy, printing money, as it were, right? So now we've gone through that major repricing to the downside, and we've had a recovery, and then similar to back in 2009, and then the question is, well, what happens next? And you can see what happens next is it trades sideways, tries to test that Bollinger upper band of the Bollinger Band again, gets rejected, and then goes and just hangs out, kind of gives up, so to speak, and hangs out at that midline of the Bollinger Band until there's a new narrative and a new sentiment for buying. Do I remember
Hey,
what it is
T-Shroom,
back? What's up?
that pullback there that you have in that red circle, how much of a pullback was that on Microsoft up there on top? Yep, there.
Versus now. Here it was 8%
No, to the bottom.
to the bottom of to the Bollinger
Uh,
Band.
yeah, right
Yeah,
there.
27%.
Yeah, 30% pullback. I mean, that's pretty substantial.
It is
So,
pretty significant, and that's where I'm going with this. So where it could go. So you see the wick all the way up here. We actually wicked up through the Bollinger Band. A lot of that has to do, I believe, with Nvidia and the AI narrative and how much that pumped, but 22% back down to the midline. Okay, so there is downside. There is definitely downside to be had. But what I'm trying to argue is that there's a phenomenon that we're going to see again, and this is why I think it's going to take a little longer to get down to that 22% downside back to the midline of the Bollinger Band. And that is that other companies have not yet experienced their all time high. Apple and Microsoft have, but if you go and you look at names like Google, which let me pull it up really quickly, Google and Amazon, two behemoths of the industry of American equities, they have yet to go back and touch their all time high. As you can see illustrated here on this chart, uh, it Google still has 15% before it reaches back those 2022 highs. Yeah, so the question is will you can go back to Brocam now? I've pretty much landed the point. So if the psychology is the same as it was in 2009, which we can assume it's similar, right? Especially over a monthly period.
right.
If the psychology is the same, the liquidity constraints are similar, then the question becomes, is the TradFi establishment compelled to have the similar outcome where they kind of manipulate the market higher so that their equity, so that names like Apple, so that names like Google and Amazon can get exit liquidity at their all-time highs, or do they do something different, right? So that's really the question: is it do they try to repeat history and get that exit liquidity, or did they not? And so that's what I'm really looking for out of the media. And so far, you know, I would say that they're manipulating it very strongly, right? So you have that Fitch
Right.
rating coming out on the U.S., and then 2 days later, you have Warren Buffett and Jamie Dimon coming out and saying, disregard the Fitch rating. That to me tells me that there's very active manipulation right now.
Very
Not
much
necessarily
so.
to the up or the downside, just manipulation activity in general is out there. And so my guess is that they're going to drag this out, but that there is going to be a retouch for the major tech companies to all-time highs. That may even include Netflix, right, and some other names like that have quite a bit to go. So that's kind of my thought. But then from then the reckoning happens, and there is a reprice down to that midline of the Bollinger Band on the monthly charts. which could be double digits well into the 15% correction
Yep,
from those highs.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of seeing. Like there's a lot of stuff, especially with China, which you're getting ready to go over. You have that pulled up?
I do, yeah.
Because this I believe is the big factor that's going to be playing in here. We've already got all of the indicators, the lagging indicators of the yield curve. We've got the indicators of the credit amount of debt, the amount of people that are default, repossessions on cars right now is astronomically high. I think it's something up like 86%. I saw recently. So, but all of those indicators greatly impacted by the news that you're getting ready to drop. So let's jump over to
Yeah,
your screen there.
absolutely. Well, the first is
Well,
actually
the bullish news first. I was going
yeah,
to
the
end on
bullish.
the bullish. I was going to leave him with some hopium, man.
Yeah, no worries. We can circle back to this actually. Let's do that. So Binance, just cover a couple of headlines before we get into China. Binance files protective order against the SEC, so that could be potentially a bullish rising narrative. Crypto custodian Prime Trust files for bankruptcy, Chapter 11 protections. That is definitely bearish. That'll be some liquidity brought out of the market and another slap on the face, another bad look for crypto. But here's kind of what we want to camp out a little bit, and then we'll return to that ETF that has been approved over in Europe, and that is that a Chinese man has been sentenced to 9 months in prison for buying USDT. So that thawing narrative of the China towards crypto is likely looking pretty false here. But Piper and I were kind of asking the question, well, why now? Why is there seem to be a reversal of that thawing narrative? And the answer to that is right here, which is China facing record youth unemployment says it will stop releasing data on it, right? Okay. What did I just say at the top of the show? That unemployment stops becoming an economic problem and starts becoming a government problem. And what has the government done here in China? They've just stopped releasing data, right? That's not something that an economy does. That's something that a government does. It's governmental control. And the last estimate of their youth unemployment is 21.3% in June, which is dire, right? That was a similar level of what unemployment in the U.S. was during the pandemic, which everybody was at home. So Piper, let's zoom out. Let's talk about this. I have some thoughts on how this is actually potentially bullish for the United States economy in the midterm. But what happens in the short term if this really does happen and they just stop reporting on unemployment for youth?
Uh, Look, it's a real simple story of this data is super bad. This is a horrible indicator for us to be announcing to the world, and we're just going to get rid of this piece of information so that it can't be used against us. That's all this is. This is China at their finest. Um, you know, and some things earlier here in the chat that I was looking at. There's something even bigger than that. That's a major one for China. But it is, God, what is the name of the company? And somebody in the chat, drop it in here. Let me know what the name of the real estate company is over there that is now
Evergrande?
having their, no, this company is 4 times larger than Evergrande. And they're getting ready to have a major default. Yeah. Somebody let me know in the chat. I can't remember the name of it. It's something like something Country Gardens or something like that. But it's 4 times larger than Evergrande, and they are getting ready to have a massive default. You have it pulled up? Did you find it?
Country Garden was China's biggest real estate developer.
Yep.
Now it's staring down default, facing billions of dollars in losses and 200
Yeah.
billion in
Yeah.
unpaid bills.
You think Evergrande
Yeah,
was bad? This is going to be horrible. I'm telling you, things are
yeah,
going really, really bad in China, man.
yeah.
And like for example, Tesla, as someone was saying here in the chat, like 25% of Tesla's business comes from China.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just watching. I don't know if you watch Andre Jik on YouTube. He's phenomenal content creator. Puts out stuff about once a week, but I never miss it because it's great alpha. He was talking about he was talking about how China's rate of default could affect like global economies, and guys, it's There's things lining up that make me think that people like Gareth Salloway and his, you know, Uber Uber doomsday prediction. I'm not saying it's going to go as low as what he said, but I do think that sometime in the next 90 days to 6 months, we're going to have pretty harsh reality on some of these absolutely astronomical growth charts that we've had over the past year, over 2023's years. So,
Mhm.
you got what else did we have in the news there on China? Was there another thing?
On China, no. I mean,
Okay.
but just to continue to chat about it, I mean, it's not good, right? And if it's a precursor of what we're going to see in the United States, if the Congress decides, hey, we're going to stop, publishing youth unemployment statistics, or we're going to stop publishing, or we're going to have to redefine unemployment because AI has merged with robotics and that's replacing jobs. Not today, right? But maybe towards mid 2025, early 2026, you might start seeing headlines like, uh, migrants being not hunted, but migrants being round up and shipped back to the countries they came from in South America because they're no longer useful to the industries that have replaced them with robotics and AI, right? And we're talking about potential unrest there, right? With migrants and their families freaking out, who never registered with the state. Uh, you could see all kinds of different headlines of folks in white collar industries who are journalists, right, or are even Uber drivers. All it takes is that the government and politicians to be incentivized not to ban these technologies, and these technologies are on track. The trajectory is there for them to replace people
But
in their jobs.
I don't even think that that's the biggest issue, because so China's biggest issue right now is they turned back on manufacturing. So whether it's AI,
Mhm.
robots, manufacturing, or people, doesn't matter. Their problem is deflation, not inflation right now in China. People are not buying goods. They're holding
Mm.
and hoarding their money and not buying anything because they still think that the economic the housing collapse is going to come, and then they're holding their money for that. So they're not buying anything. Matter of fact, all of their deflation is being shipped and exported overseas to the United States, which means that we're going to have a flood of stuff coming in. It could lower our inflation rate, but it's going to hurt U.S. manufacturing business also. So, but yeah, a lot of people are just not buying. So whether it's robots building it or whether it's human hands in China building it, if you
Mhm.
have deflationary purchasing going on, that's not a good thing. So
Yeah. So there's a lot of bearish narratives out there, but Piper, if you go to my screen, we've got a very bullish headline here, which is that a spot Bitcoin ETF has been approved. Now, it's been approved in Amsterdam, in Europe, and it's also not the first. Canada has also approved a spot Bitcoin ETF. But if you take a look at this headline, it is definitely bullish, guys. Now, the only thing with this is it's not the United States. And Piper, going back out to Brocam, maybe you can tell us a little bit. It looks like you had read up on it
mhm.
a little bit of why that's significant with the difference between the U.S. and the European ETF markets.
So this very bullish news. Anytime you get a spot ETF that gets approved anywhere, it's going to be money coming in. However, how much is that money? What's the amount on that? Well, to put it in perspective, the U.S. ETF equities market is $6.5 trillion. The UK's is only $1.5 trillion. So we have about $5 trillion more that can run into a spot ETF than the UK has. So bullish news, but really, when you look at it, it's a drop of water in the ocean. It's not going to be too much in the grand scheme of how much money opens up into the marketplace off of this ETF. But the more that these things happen, the more that countries like Canada, the UK, hopefully Europe soon, approve these, the more pressure it puts on the United States to approve one also. And so it's just a matter of when, not if, as Larry Fink has said numerous times. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
it's bullish. But me overall, I'm leaning more bearish right now, T-shirt. I'm leaning more
Yeah.
bearish. So
Yeah. We're gonna be taking these headlines and trying to make sense of them. Tomorrow we're having Caleb Franson on, so you don't want to miss that. He's gonna help
don't
us
miss
really,
that.
really gonna have us, a unique perspective, because he's much more TradFi, guys. He's into crypto. He likes Bitcoin specifically for the narrative, the anti-inflation narrative, and a lot of the other things like that. But he comes from TradFi, right? And he's really, really well tuned in with the bond markets and the real estate markets and all of this. So we're going to be able to chat with him about it quite a bit. But Piper, thank you so much for coming on today, covering for Tim.
My pleasure, awesome, man.
Thank you for covering for me yesterday. And why don't you go ahead and lead us out?
All right, guys. Hey, join us tomorrow. Caleb France is going to be on here. He's going to be giving a very unique perspective, breaking down everything that's going on. A lot of moving parts in the economy right now. You're not going to want to miss that show. Tim will be back in tomorrow. Don't forget, today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is bro time for the gold members and up. So you're going to want to tune into that. And then this evening, I believe Tim said he will be running tactical trades right here on the Investing Bros channel. We'll catch you guys all then. Thanks for joining us today. Hit that like button on the way out. And until tomorrow, trade safe, use stop losses, and stay primed. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Investing bros.